Hi everybody, it's Jay today from Black Belt Factory Podcast. Just coming at you with a nice simple topic today. Today's episode is just by myself. We'll talk some raw knowledge to y'all. The main topic today, I want to talk about why martial arts are becoming so popular, why it's becoming such a trendy thing, and why everybody wants to get into it. You know, people from all age groups, all different cultures, all sizes. They all want to be in martial arts, and it's something that's been kind of re-emerging nowadays. Martial arts was nowhere near as popular as even when I first started. About 8 years ago, as it's becoming now, which is kind of crazy. I think a lot of that has to do with the rise of the fitness industry, and everybody wants to be fit, and the whole lifestyle of it. A lot has to do with the culture. People want to emulate, things they see on TV and, different heroes like that. But the problem with that is I think it's becoming a bit of a trendy thing, which, I mean, it's good because it gives people who do martial arts and things like that exposure, well needed exposure that you couldn't get back in the day, like nobody just knew. But nowadays it's easier to become more out there. We can't do this podcast if people weren't interested. You know what I'm saying? But the big drawback to it becoming so trendy and almost diluted is just that, right? It becomes like really watered down, and then you have the rise of people that try to make a quick buck out of a trend. Try to jump on a bandwagon. People who are not really about it. And I think that's a problem, especially when those people start mounting their own businesses and spreading misinformation and things like that. That kind of stuff gets people hurt, right? One of the things is with martial arts, and it's crazy to me, is that nowadays everybody wants to be seen as doing something special. Everybody wants to be so special. You have websites like Instagram and Facebook. And it's just, you go on there and it's just people flexing on what they're doing, and oh, look at me, my life is so much better than yours, and and that's a problem with our whole generation and things like that. But it's really become really bad with martial arts. You get like some lady that's is her second time going to a fitness kickboxing class with with like a million hashtags and like everything like this, and it's just absolutely corny. It's ridiculous. I think there's so much of that nowadays that I become so blind to it. I see it everywhere, and it's just like, it is what it is. And I think also too is everybody wants, I don't know what is this romantic idea that everybody nowadays, they want to be fighters. They want to be tough guys. Back in the day, even just recently, being a fighter wasn't that prestigious of a career choice. I mean, it was for the people who were in the game, you know what I mean? And I have much respect for those guys, but usually the outside world would look at them like, oh, these people don't have educations, they don't got nothing, so they got to resort to this. And I mean, I don't agree with that either, but nowadays, fighting is really glorified. And I'm a big fan of fighting. I watch all kinds of combat sports and everything like this. But the problem is when people try to imitate that, and they're not really about that life. They just want to take Instagram selfies all day and hashtag fight life, hashtag fighter forever. You know what I mean? Things like that. I just think it's ridiculous. It also kind of demeans the hard work that actually goes into fighting and preparing for fights, and all the sacrifices that these guys makes. They time away from their family, long training hours, weight cutting, just showing up on fight day, being in big massive arenas with all that pressure. I just think that people, they want to, it's weird. It's almost like what's it called, it's almost like a cosplay. Like they want to put on a costume and take on a persona, which I think is just really cringy. I've been around a couple guys and things like that, and those guys, they don't, one thing is to have an Instagram and a following and everything like that, that's okay, but they don't openly advertise and need validation from people. You know, they don't approach people and ask for validation. That's just not a thing that happens with them. You know, they have so much self-esteem that they don't need that. They know what they can do, and that's something that I can appreciate. But I think it's an overlooked thing that, you know, people who just want to be fit or just want to, you know, how to throw a jab cross hook or fucking do a fitness kickboxing class or you know, just go to the local McDojo and get a black belt. I think those people, they don't understand that. They don't catch that about, you know, what real fighting is about, and how difficult it truly is. It's not just taking physical punishment. It's everything that comes with that. You know what I mean? So it's a very tough thing. And I think, you know, the rise of the UFC and this new wave of young athletes joining the UFC and things like that. Much respect to those guys, but I think that's also contributing to the fact that, you know, some guy, some 20-year-old guy wearing a tap out shirt can see that and be like, oh wow, I can do that too. You know, I'm gonna go sign up for my local jiu-jitsu class. Which in that regard, you know, I think that's positive. I think that's good. You know, obviously, it's great that somebody's starting their journey. I think that's fantastic. But then that gives the other person opportunity to take advantage of that, which it can be a good thing and a bad thing, right? Like if you know, you got some brand new person coming to your gym, you know, depending on the gym owner you are, it can be a great experience, right? You can turn that person's life around and influence them. But if you're a sleazy fucking business guy, you know what I mean? You just made an easy paycheck right there, and I don't think it's fair for people like that to take advantage of the trend and make money off people who just don't know any better. I mean, the whole trendy thing, I think it just appeals to people with like really low self-esteem, that they want to be a part of a clique and they don't really know what it is. Overall, I think martial arts is great for self-esteem and confidence, but I think it's more so a byproduct of training and honing your skill and being a place where you're comfortable and being with people you're comfortable with. And I don't think it's a direct thing where if you do, you know, a karate class, you're just the next, you know, when you finish the class, you're going to have supreme confidence. You're going to walk around like an alpha. You know, I think if you're a beta, you know, you might be able to learn things and feel more confident in your own shoes, and I think that's fantastic. But, you know, we've all seen it. We've all seen the advertisements on the wall, like that says, you know, gain confidence, you know, be strong. My least favorite one is the fight like a girl one, you know, because that's just bullshit. That's just trying to catch fucking people, you know, who want to be a part of something and don't really care what it is. They just want to fucking be trendy and shit. I don't like that. But my thing is, if you are new to martial arts and you're trying to get into martial arts, you want to be very critical of everything, and at the same time you want to be very open-minded. So you want to ask a lot of questions, but you also want to listen to all the answers. I think that's the best way of learning. That's the way I've always had it, you know what I mean? Even with all the teachers I've known for a long time, you know, I question everything, but I listen to the answers. Some people, they listen, but they don't ask questions. And some people, they ask a question and then they kind of put their hands into their ears and they don't listen. And I think that's an ignorant way of looking at it too. And martial arts is so tricky, and it's so easy for you to get scammed. And there's so many players out here that, you know, maybe they started with a love and a passion, but over time it got twisted into a scheme. You know, there's so many of these people that's what they do, you know, like take advantage of single moms and overweight guys just to pay rent. But at the end of the day, you know what, it's a business, and this is what it is. You know, but martial arts is your journey, you know. Can you, you know, post selfies and pictures of you doing it, martial arts and things like that, and sure, why not? I mean, the problem is if that's your only reason for doing martial arts. That's my problem. If your only reason for doing martial arts is so other people can see you doing it, I think you've lost a point somewhere, you know. So it is what it is. Um, yeah, I just think it's an interesting topic. I mean, you know, I think for now, the popularity of martial arts, specifically jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and boxing, are going to continue rising. I personally think boxing is on the come up again, which is great. You know, I'm a big fan of boxing. I've watched many hours, you know, of fights and lead up to boxing matches, and some of the stories in boxing are just absolutely amazing, and same with jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai is nothing but respect for those guys. You know what I mean? Um, but this podcast is not about what I think. You know what I mean? This podcast is just to drop some knowledge and maybe give you guys some food for thought about that. But what do you think about? Write in the comment section below. What do you think about martial arts becoming so trendy? Do you think it's bad for the industry? Do you think it's good for the industry? Do you think it has a watering down effect? Or do you think maybe it will give some very deserving people the exposure they need? And I mean, I know it applies differently. I think, definitely the jiu-jitsu people have benefited a lot from the trendiness of martial arts, and I think that's great. Most BJJ gyms I've been to and I've trained at have been very high quality. I mean, I can't say the same about the karate and taekwondo gyms, and it's like GSP said, fighting is kind of like the stock market in a different sense, in regard of he was talking about fighters and I'm talking about different martial arts. The stock rises and drops. So I mean, taekwondo is nowhere near as popular as it once was, and I think maybe that's good. I think that's a way for things to reinvent themselves. Competition is always healthy. But anyways, write down in the comment section below what do you guys think of the rise in martial arts, and things like the UFC and how it affects martial arts and how it affects you. Have you had any negative experience with some weekend warrior and that just wants to do it for the pictures? I've had a couple, but maybe that's a story for another day. If you like the podcast, give it a like, share it to a buddy, you know what I mean? Listen to it while you train, just chill out, argue with people in the chat. It's all good, bro, in the comment section. But just wishing you guys a good day. Peace out.